Again, we entered into another dark age. Then came AlexNet, brought drawbacks, and also GPU, supercomputers. Then he made deep learning, and deep learning was there before even AlexNet. It was there in 90s, but nobody called it deep learning. Now, don't want to go further because it's a lot, and then came Transformer and ChatGPT. Okay. So that one little history, and then opportunities in the AI in education. So AI-powered personalized learning, adaptive learning systems, enhanced teaching methods, smart classrooms, AI tutors, visual labs, automation of administrative tasks, grading, and I show you some example. This is one of the examples for AI-powered personalized learning, adaptive learning. This is, you can do it, customized learning. AI can take the performance of the students and then based on that one tailor a good style of learning for it. Then we come to the chatbots can help assisting you. For example, if you are teaching, but then you need some robot or subbot to go around the class and find out who did the homework, who didn't do it. So basic stuff can do for you. This is the visual whereby first you get a data set, and that data set, it'll be question from the context, and the model will try to get the data set questions and the context and provide the answer for you. And then there is a large language model there to create some assessment for this work. Now, that is, again, plagiarism, detection tools, grading, assessment, I talked about it. Large language model can do that for you. Now, then accessibility and inclusion. There are a lot of tools and technologies. We talked about voice to text. I showed you first my examples or softwares. And then again, one of my works to help disability people. So that text to voice helps disability people, those they want to continue their education, but they cannot do it because they were deterred by their ability or physical ability. Now, again, deep learning, insights, pattern, there's visual analytics, and there are also a lot of forecasting students' performance. We know this one. This is not something new. Here you can use it for finance, for you name it, any area, any field. You can use machine learning to do forecasting, classification, associating data for you. Then there are some challenges. What are the challenges? Because I have only 15 minutes compact, and I'm nervous. I need to finish on time. Now, I talk about ethicals. There are two things. There's ethics issues, which is privacy, security, openness, fairness, responsibility. So once you create a machine, who's responsible if it's make a mistakes, okay? And there's also frameworks, ethical frameworks, whereby we call deontology, utilitarianism, and also ethical by virtue. That's also a long discussion it can be, so I wouldn't go and deep dive. It's not the right time for us to talk. And also privacy for the, if there are, like there's a privacy, data privacy, security, responsibility, openness. For example, you create a machine, but then the machine only takes for selecting CV, for example, to Qatar University. You only taking the male group and you don't take the female group for programming. Who's responsible for that? Is it the data set, or is it the algorithm, or is it the person who worked with that? So here we talk about we'll get into problem of ethical problems. So for example, again, in the UK, racial problem we have. All the white people will be taking the jobs. But if you are from different race, you cannot get that job. Who's responsible for that one? machine, the data set, the algorithm. That's the ethical issue. It could be also in health. For example, I am a psychiatric and I have a patient. Okay, I have a patient somewhere there. I have that patient. That patient, I need to talk to him so that he can open to me and he can say his problem. He can talk about his problems. When he talks to me, he said that I hate X in the class and I want to kill him. Okay? Now, I am in trouble now. I am an AI robot and I'm trying to do my job. My job is to make him open, to talk about his problems, but then I have also to inform that this person, this sick man, can kill somebody, his colleague. So again, I'm in trouble, a conflict. I cannot reveal what he told me, and I cannot be silent, So that is who's responsible for that. That's again a problem, because we engineers, we go very, very fast in developing, but the low people, they have to be a bit faster, or they are very slow. They don't do the ethical issues for us, and we need in Kurdistan to do ethical issues, and we have all procedures and protocols how we can do this one. Now, there are more case studies. I skipped them because they are not. I talked most about them, and then there's also virtual reality has to be in our classes, and I show you this example. That virtual reality, you can go there in that imagination where you are there in the class, but you are at home, or you can perform operations, surgical operation in Australia while you are in Kurdistan. So that's also in our center. We are trying to do this one because we have a game lab component, and we have robotics, and we have AI researchers. But one of the components of my responsibility in AI center, I need to connect to this one. Now, limits of AI, many. Data, because these machines, they are data dependent. So if you change the data, everything's changed. So, these are machines data dependent. What is the challenge? Can we take AI without data? That's my question. Very, very difficult. It's out-of-box question, but can we work with AI without data? That's one limitation, I would say, and there are many limitations. What else? Here, I just finished with this one. Where are we now in the AI? AI has three types. We are in the weak AI right now, very weak AI. Because AI can take data and predict. That's a pre-planned. This is weak AI so far. There is another type of AI we call cognitive AI, strong AI. Strong AI, it means that I am teaching right now, or I am talking right now to you, and then at the same time, simultaneously, I perform surgical operation on a patient. And also I am playing tennis. So three things in one time. That's strong AI, cognitive, empathy, love, everything in it. This one can be envisioned to 2045 that we will be into strong AI. Otherwise, we'll be in the dark age. If we can continue with what we have right now, ChatGPT, the chats that you name them. If we continue with them and we do not develop, then we are in the dark age. Then after that, if we into strong AI, that would be not enough according to AI people. They say that there's another type of AI, super AI, super intelligence AI. This intelligence AI can have a role of God, can re-engineer human, can change the climate change, the problem that we have within a second, can solve the Kurdish independent problem that we have. So that's strong AI, God. This one kind of envisioned to be there by 2075, something like that. So these are the AI people. And these are the paths that I talk about. In conclusion, AI is very rapidly is going. Engineers are very fast in developing. Tons of softwares out there, tons of platforms. Google does a lot, Microsoft does a lot, other companies they do a lot. Investors, they also faster, but the lawyers are so slow. They need to establish some rules, regulations, some protocols for us. Now, I think I'm done. Thank you very much for having me, and really appreciate your wishing you all the best. And I'm glad that I met people like you. Thank you.